Good morning. Today I'm speaking to you from outside the Ellie Calkins Opera House in downtown Denver, Colorado. Though the building has undergone significant changes and remodeling over the course of the past century, it was originally completed as the Denver Auditorium in 1908, just in time to host the Democratic National Convention, where William Jennings Bryan was nominated for his third and final time as the party's presidential candidate. This time he ran against Republican Howard Taft, but as in his previous electoral attempts, he was unsuccessful. The 1908 election is notable, however, for some of the religious issues that arose over the course of the campaign and how they hinted at later religious controversy. Bryan, of course, was a noted and popular lay preacher, perhaps as much as he was a politician, though today he's known most widely for his often distorted role in the Scopes trial of 1925. By this time and through this event, Bryan became established as a recognized figure on the fundamentalist side of the fundamentalist modernist controversy. However, his religious beliefs were by no means new and had not fundamentally changed over the course of the years that led up to the religious conflict. Looking back over the scope of his career, from when he gained national attention for his Cross of Gold speech in 1896, a political economic speech replete with biblical imagery and language, onto the Scopes trial at the end of his life, we can see a man who held deep religious convictions and that consistently informed his political stances. Troy Murphy, in a 2002 article on Bryan, explored this relationship and how social and labor activism fit within his religious beliefs. This is something we also see in his role in the Scopes trial, which he saw as a defense of citizens deciding what they wanted taught in their schools. This seems particularly relevant today, as the limits and extent of parental input into schools is a growing public issue. The 1908 election saw the devout Bryan running against the unapologetically Unitarian Taft. Over the course of the election, Bryan did not openly attack Taft's beliefs, though his subordinates did, and Bryan's supporting newspapers criticized Taft significantly on religious grounds. In a 1961 article titled "The Religious Issues in the Taft-Bryan Duel of 1908, Edgar Albert Hornig makes a compelling case for the importance of Taft's religion in this election, and explains how it was used against him. Ultimately, Taft won, though it's possible that some states like Colorado and Nebraska were swayed to vote for Bryan as a result of this religious issue. Relating this election to the fundamentalist controversy, there are a couple of ideas that I think will help us better understand Bryan. The first is that Bryan was consistently willing to fight against those he disagreed with, whether politically or religiously. This can be seen in all of his presidential campaigns, and this combative tendency made him precisely the sort of person who is willing to throw himself into controversial religious issues later on. The second is that Bryan felt he would be supported and likely win the 1908 election because Taft was a Unitarian. Though Unitarianism went back much further than the 20th century, it certainly contained some concepts and ideas that would gain ground in the modernist side of the controversy. Not only was Bryan convicted in his religious beliefs and guided by them, but by the election of 1908, he assumed most Americans agreed with him religiously enough to make that the deciding factor in their votes. The fact that he was wrong in this assumption is perhaps a hint at how the nation's religious views were changing, something that would become ever more clear in the following decades. Through the 1908 election, then, we can see the beginnings of some of the issues that would come to the forefront during the controversy, as well as a hint of the form that Bryan's role would take within it. Thank you for your time.